All right, the next thing we'll do is converting fractions to decimals. There's several ways you could do this, but I think probably the easiest way to do this, you have to divide. So for instance, if I had the fraction, let's say 2 over 5, and I want to figure that out, what is it as a decimal? We're going to have to divide it. And just remember, the bar right here also means divided by. So even though this says 2/5, it literally also says 2 divided by 5. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to put 2 inside our house and put 5 on the outside. Well, right now we can't really divide it because we know 5 is bigger than 2, so we have to do something to it. So to make this work, we're going to put a 0.0 to make this a decimal, 2 and 0/10, because it really looks more like the number 20 right now than it does 2. So 5 can definitely go into 20, because for right now we're just going to kind of ignore the decimal. So we need to know how many times does 5 go into 20 without going over. So if you count by 5s, 5, 10, 15, 20, it can go 4 times. So because I couldn't go in the first number, I had to go into 2. The 4 has to go right here. And it's very important to try to line these up, okay? So if I follow my steps of division, divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, I just divided, I'm going to multiply now. 4 times 5 is 20, and it goes right there. Then I'm going to subtract. 20 minus 20 will give me 0, okay? Now technically I don't have anything to bring down, but what you can do, just to kind of make sure you're doing it right, in case you have some fractions that are very similar, you can put another 0 right there, and I'll bring down that 0 to right here and just start the process over one more time. So I'm going to do 5 into 0 this time with my division. Well, 5 can't go into 0, it's always going to be 0 times. We multiply, 0 times 5 is 0. I subtract, 0 minus 0 is going to be 0. If I kept this process going, this would just be a repeating decimal. I would just have 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. So there's no point to really keep going. So now I'm just going to bring the decimal point straight up, which means 2/5, my fraction, is the same thing as 40 hundredths, or if I got rid of that 0, we could also say it's the same thing as 4 tenths. Okay, let me do one more example. All right, what if I have the number, let's see, 3/8, okay? So it literally again means 3 divided by 8. So to convert that to a decimal, I'm gonna have to divide. So 3 is gonna go inside the house, make my house, 8 goes on the outside. Okay, I can't divide it like it is, so to do that I have to put a 0.0. Now it looks like 30, so we can definitely do this because this 30 is bigger than 8. So how many times can 8 go into 30 with division? Okay, that's going to be 3 times. So put my 3 right there. I'll multiply now. 3 times 8 is 24. Subtract, okay, that's a 10. That becomes a 2. That gives me 6, all right? You always want to go at least a couple more times, especially if you have fractions that are very similar. If you just had 0.3, that might not be able to tell you enough about what's different, what's bigger, what's smaller, whatever. So I'm going to put another 0 right here, and I'm going to bring it down. So now I have the number 60 right there, and I'm going to divide again, okay? So how many times does 8 go into 60 without going over? In this case, it's going to be 7 times. 7 times 8, because I'm on multiplication, is 56. I subtract. I'll get a 4. Okay. Now, you could stop, but I kind of know this fraction fairly well, so I'm going to put one more 0 just in case. Put another 0, bring it all the way down. Now I have a 40. Okay, I'm back to division because I brought something down. How many times does 8 go into 40? It goes 5 times. 5 times 8 is 40. Subtract. Now I get a 0 because there's nothing left to it. So I know that 3/8, the fraction, and I bring my decimal point up, is the same thing as 375 thousandths. Okay, so if you're trying to convert a fraction to a decimal, you have to divide. It's the easiest way to do it. Your number on top goes inside the house, number on the bottom goes on the outside of the house, and then you just add your point 0, follow your steps of division, and then throw in a couple zeros at the end to, make sure you followed it all the way through. And if you can end it, do it. If it doesn't end or terminate, just stop after a couple of times, because otherwise you might be there the rest of your life trying to figure out what the answer was. Okay.